Play ball. Hot off the press, handicappers from WagerTalk, Sports Memo, and the Gold Sheet have collaborated on the 2023 WagerTalk Media MLB Betting Guide. From World Series odds to regular season win totals and everything in between, this year's betting guide features previews on all 30 teams, all 6 divisions, and season-long awards like the Cy Young, MVP, and Rookie of the Year. Each preview contains key roster acquisitions and departures to help you get up to speed before opening day. Visit wt.buzz/MLB23 to download your free guide, and we'll see you in the batter's box.
Hey guys, welcome in on a very happy Friday to you here now, March the 24th, and we are in the home stretch in the association here. About 10 more games or so left in the regular season, of course, and then we get ready for the playoffs, which should last about 6 months. But hey, opportunities presenting themselves. Couple of teams really trying to make that final push to secure their playoff berth. So a lot going on in the association here over the next couple of weeks, and we've got you covered. In fact, a loaded card here tonight. We're going to break down a few of these games, see if we can find a couple of edges for you, and we're going to do it with three of the best, the Friday crew here on the NBA Tip-Off Show, as we welcome back in the prop god, Mr. Andy Lang, in the house, along with Double R, 1L, and his abacus, Mr. Steve Merrill, in the house. Rob Vino here, ready for Merrill to do all sorts of math and promotions for him, as usual. Gentlemen, always a pleasure. Happy Friday here. Andy, I saw there was a dart tournament on one of the channels I was flipping through. I was like, I bet you Andy's got money on this. I have no idea what it was, but if I know you, not only do you have a little something rolling in the NBA here, but you might have a few other things ready for this weekend as well.
If you would like, you can play Sebesta under 1.5 180s and parlay that with Bolton under 2.5 180s, because that is a live darts play that we have going tonight. It's amazing. You know me very well. We got amazing. Yeah, we got a lot going on. We got a 4% women's college basketball play that goes off tonight, and then we've got another one tomorrow. We're at plus 96 units for the season, so come on, we got to get over that 100 unit mark. And then UFC 5% play is up. Hopefully everyone has it by now. If not, go get it. We're 7-1 run on 4% and 5% best bets, number one in UFC profits this year. So that's what's going on Wager Talk. We were on a 6-0 run in NBA. Unfortunately, we lost it last night, so looking to start a new undefeated streak tonight with a couple of NBA plays. Tough games to handicap with some of the lineups, but we're going to do our best as well as always.
Yeah, no doubt here. It's going to be an interesting race here to the finish line for a lot of teams, and of course, a lot of teams already out of the picture. So it makes it intriguing, Merrill, navigating through the association down this regular season stretch. Any of these games, though, tonight pique your interest over on your page at WagerTalk?
Yes. In fact, I've got a strong NBA best bet for tonight on Friday, along with 3 college basketball Sweet 16 best bets on the Friday night card. Also, Joe and I, we did the show a couple hours ago. I recommend people go back and watch the college basketball tip-off show, as we did break down 3 of those 4 games. And also, don't forget my Sweet 16 Fade the Public video. Did a Thursday one. We have a Friday one up right now. And spoiler alert, 2 very public underdogs tonight on the Friday Sweet 16 card. I give those out in the video along with analysis, a deep dive into all 4 games, and just recorded the Saturday Elite 8 edition of Fade the Public for the 2 games tomorrow. That'll be up later today here on Wager Talk TV. So hit subscribe and hit that bell for instant alerts. And don't forget to check out 4 strong best bets tonight on Friday on my page, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. And Rob Bino said, Steve, you're doing so many videos. Make sure you stay hydrated. So I just want to let Rob know I'm got a big old mug of water here on the desk tonight, so we're good to go.
He's got that thing filled with vodka. Love it. Great way to bring in Friday the right way here. Vino, what is going on, man? I know you have absolutely got something rolling here in the Sweet 16, not to mention a plethora of games here in the association. What's going on over on your page?
Yeah, first off, let me... Steve said a lot there, and I got a lot of comments back to a lot of that stuff. First off, hey, how about going back and checking out the show Ski and I did this afternoon, Ski Show Profit Picks. You can find it on YouTube, find notification on my page on Twitter, where we covered all 4 games tonight in college basketball and all 10 NBA games. And, Steve, to your Fade the Public video, when you said that, it made me laugh because in the comments section, somebody posted, "My mom watches Steve Merrill's Fade the Public video." So you have a wide-ranging audience, dude. Good for you. Congratulations.
Very nice.
And for myself, over at WagerTalk, 2 college basketball best bets tonight, Joe. It's been a good college basketball season for myself, up over 68 units of profit. And on a 7-0 run this week in college hoops, CBI and IT and CAA combined, 2-0 last night with UConn, and I think UCLA first half was the other one. Good thing I got in before they decided to collapse in the second half. And for NBA, going to have to replays. I've got a couple of best bets here that are going to go up after this show, and trying to, as usual, wait out this schedule and see if I can get better prices as injuries as the information becomes, more predictable. I think we're going to get a couple of better prices, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and put them up because I like these games even at the price that they're at.
Yeah, well, there's not a whole lot not to like here in some of these games. Opportunities, not just on sides totals, but of course in prop betting. So let us dive in on this Friday. We'll start, of course, with our contrarian gods who are taking a look here at an intriguing one, and they are going to focus all of their attention on the Portland Trailblazers tonight, as they are going to be hosting, I believe, the Chicago Bulls. 4.5 is what we are seeing here in this one tonight. And Portland finally got off the schneid. I think they finally won a game there a couple of days ago. Can you believe it? Portland actually won a game. But, this is the final hurrah for probably Dame Lillard, right? Because now that they have pretty much played themselves right out of a playoff spot here. Who knows how much longer we'll see before they shut down Dame Lillard here. But can they keep it rolling here tonight? The contrarian gods think so. How about you, Andy? Kick us off here. You diving into a little Portland, or is there a prop in this one here you like?
Yeah, boy, Dame Lillard and Bradley Beal, man, they get these massive contracts, and then they don't even have to have the pressure of playoffs or anything. What, man? How can I sign up for that gig? Max contract. I don't have to play in the postseason. Get to rest at the end of the season. Oh, they got it made. So, this game's pretty tough from a props perspective. There's not a lot out right now because they're waiting on lineups. One did kind of jump out at me a little bit. Patrick Beverley under 8.5 rebounds and assists. And I bring this up because he was full over his total, and you could get his total like 5.5 and 6.5. And so 9, 10, 15, 14, and 9. And the books made an aggressive move. And you see this in hockey and you see this in NBA. When the books make these aggressive moves up, it's time to start looking on the unders. And that's exactly what's happened with Patrick Beverley. 7, 6, and 7 the last 3 games. Last game against Philly was a blowout. He only played 19 minutes. And even in the double overtime game where he played 40 minutes, he still only had 6 rebounds and assists. So the books have made this move up. It's too big of a move up, and you saw him hit 3 games in a row. Who knows what to expect from this game, but I'll keep riding Patrick Beverley unders. I think we can get a few more games out of him.
All right, love it. And big shout out to Rick J in the chat, who labeled this the D-Gen game, and I'm not arguing with him. There's a lot of truth to that, but I will say this here, Merrill. As of looks like we've got a little more clarification. We know Of course, DeRozan's not in on this one, but Lillard went from probable to questionable here, and it does look like Nurkic is going to be doubtful. Nasir Little is probable for Portland. So obviously, I'm guessing that's why we saw this go from 2.5 to 4.5 rather quickly here over the last 20 minutes or so. But hey, the more it heads towards Portland, the more the contrarian gods like it. How about you?
Yeah, Portland's 3.5 games back of the 10th seed to have a chance at the play-in round and with 10 games to go. So, like you said, they're playing their way out of it. They're not completely out of it quite yet. The next couple of games will probably tell us if they are or not. Chicago right now is sitting exactly in that 10th spot, 1.5 games ahead of Andy Lang's Indiana Pacers. So it's an important game, I think, still for both teams. I almost like the fact that everything's been going wrong for Portland. It does kind of make this contrarian play a little easier to swallow because when the pressure's off of these teams, sometimes they start performing better. But then again, maybe we saw that in the last game after 6 straight losses. They go into Utah as a 5-point dog and win outright by 12. So the question becomes, is that the buy sign? Or is just that exhale out, nothing to lose type of effort? It was a weird situation, too, because they came off the 6-game road trip, had the terrible 0-3 run at home. Keep in mind, though, they were a home dog in all 3 of those games against good playoff caliber teams in the Knicks, Clippers, and Celtics. They had the one lone road game, which was strange, and now they're at home again, I think, for 5 straight. But these are winnable games because they've got Chicago, Oklahoma City, New Orleans, Sacramento twice. We'll see if the Kings take both of those games serious or not. So I do think the Clippers still have something to play for, and I think they're probably the safer bet here as a home dog tonight.
What are we thinking there, Vino? Portland, Bulls without DeMar DeRozan. I get why the contrarian gods are leaning this way. I mean, he's still questionable, Lillard. He can certainly decide to play in this game at home if he wants. There's not a whole lot of home games left for him, so it's an intriguing spot for both these teams. Are you leaning with the Blazers here tonight?
Yeah, I don't know that I can, Joe. And far be it from me to, try and kick the contrarian gods, but I'll try and do it here. You'd prefer to have DeRozan, obviously, but even without him, if you do get Alex Caruso back, the Bulls should be in pretty good shape here. You add on top of Damian Lillard, and we've talked about him a lot, but let's talk about no Nurkic, and let's talk about no Jeremy Grant, and all of a sudden 3/5 of the starting lineup is out. The bulk of the heavy lifting probably here on Anthony Simons, right? I would guess. Even Anthony Simons is out. So you're going to look at the 2 kids who played well the other night, Watford and Sharp. And it's really almost a Portland concession game by the looks of this injury list at this point in time. I know Simons has been hurt, so no reason to think that he would be sitting just because Portland doesn't want to win. But the Bulls come off that game the other night against the Sixers, where they got behind 23-1 at the outset. It was the second of back-to-backs, different cities, but 2 and 3 days between those two. Philly had a little bit of revenge, but they didn't have James Harden. Maybe the Bulls overlooked them a little bit, and they got smacked. They've been playing hard down the stretch here, and I think they do want a spot in the playoffs. They seem to show that in their play lately. And for me, it just came down to a question of the discrepancy in defensive ability here, Joe. The Bulls have been playing pretty good defense. I mean, the other night may have been a one-off. And again, maybe they took Philadelphia a little lightly, and Philadelphia did not want to get swept by that team. Maxey and Melton were the starting guards in there. And that's a good set of starting NBA guards, even as one with being a reserve for Harden. So I think the Bulls have a bounce-back effort here. It doesn't look to me like Portland's all that interested in playoffs anymore. And I think the Bulls' defense is just that much better. I would say this from a props perspective, without Nurkic, I think I said Nurkic before, without Nurkic on the floor, I would look at props for Vucevic, who's been a pretty good points, rebounds, assists guy over the course of the last month to 6 weeks. His number sits at 34.5 here tonight with DeRozan out of the lineup. Some of that production is going to go somewhere, and without a big to really contest him, I think that Vucevic might be a good prop play in this game.
Yeah, I can't argue with that, too. I mean, the Bulls just a game and a half back of that 8th spot in the East. So This is a big game for him. And to your point, Vino, who'd have thought that a trade for Patrick Beverley would all of a sudden energize the Bulls? But that's exactly what happened. Get a load of it. A plus 15 net rating when Caruso and Beverley are on the floor together. Defense will get it done. We don't know if Caruso is going here tonight, but Portland is the way the contrarian gods are looking tonight. Now 4.5 here, awaiting the news on Dame Lillard. All right, we've got a featured matchup here tonight we're going to take a look at. And also an intriguing battle, huh? How about Golden State back home after an interesting road trip by them? Laying 5 here against who? Well, the Philadelphia 76ers. 234 is the total in this one here tonight. The interesting part, I guess, is that we still, I don't believe, have confirmation on what the story is going to be with Harden and Embiid or Jalen McDaniels. Looks like all three are still listed as questionable here for the Philadelphia 76ers. Couple that with the fact that, the Sixers head coach made the comment about our number one priority here is to stay healthy for the playoffs. Yeesh. Andy, when you put it all together here, what are you looking at from a prop betting perspective? Is there anybody in particular you think we should focus on?
Well, what I'm looking at is that there aren't props for this game because we need to wait on Embiid and Harden. So I'll make a little zigzag here. I was talking before we started the show with Robert, and we're talking about the Houston Rockets. So why not give out some knowledge here? The Houston Rockets have just stopped playing their bench. They just like stopped. I don't know why. They scored 125 points last game, and their bench had 7. So, like, when you look at props, look at their starters, like Jalen Green and KPJ and Kenny Martin Jr. Like, some of these guys, they're just getting all of the points. They're getting all of the rebounds. They're getting all of the assists. And when you look at the Rockets team, I don't know why this game would be that much different than the last game they just played. The points, rebounds, and assists for Junior and Green are both at 29.5. I would look at sprinkling a little bit on both of them if they're going to keep not playing these bench guys. The bench for the Houston Rockets in the last 3 games combined has 47 points. That's it. So I don't know what the Houston Rockets are doing, but they're only playing the starters and sprinkling in the bench guys. So sorry I don't have any props for the Warriors and 76ers. There's just not much out there. But if you're really itching to bet on the Rockets tonight, that is how you do it.
Shout out to Professor Chris there in the chat. He did make note that Embiid was in the shoot-around here. Harden was not. So don't know if that changes your opinion here, Merrill, on this game. The total's intriguing. And, of course, Golden State at home is always interesting. Who might you be looking at in this one?
Yeah, the 4:30 Eastern NBA report just came out a few minutes ago as we're doing this live on WagerTalk TV, and Embiid Harden's still questionable. So, it's if they're at the shoot-around, though, I think that's probably a good sign, although you never know. I mean, it really is so ridiculous. I saw something, I forget who tweeted it. I think it was somebody in the WagerTalk family the other day. Was it down 20%, I think, the viewership this year of the NBA or something, and it's because people can't bet on these games with this uncertainty. It definitely hurts the handle. And I think it's hurting the viewership when people aren't betting on the game. So it's something the NBA needs to deal with. But this would be a pretty good matchup if everybody was in the lineup, obviously. And the one thing we talk about all the time with Golden State is the extreme home road dichotomy. This team is 29-7 straight up at home this year. They're 9-29 away from home. That's called symmetrical. Very symmetrical. And this is a team that's been night and day difference. And it's gotten to a point now where I don't think it's just a fluke anymore. Now, Rob will probably touch on this. Teams are not in a great spot when they're coming off 5 or 6 straight road games. And Golden State comes off the 5-game road trip, kind of a Midwest trip. They had the Clippers in LA, then had to go to Atlanta, then Memphis, then Houston. They've been inching their way back, and then Dallas. But they also, don't forget, had 3 road games earlier before that. One was against the Lakers, so 2 true road games, 2 home games. So they really haven't been home much other than a handful of games over the past 3 weeks or so. So I think that's a negative tonight, even though they've had a very strong home court in general. I did have a best bet on the Sixers the other night on Wednesday, laid the 3.5. It closed -1. Never in doubt. Of course, they win by 25 against the Bulls. That's just how the NBA is nowadays. I think Philly's the better team, but I just wish I knew the status for sure of Embiid and Harden in this one.
Yeah, no, well, of course, we'll know about 5 minutes before tip-off, I'm sure, and then, there'll be 3 more guys that don't play, Vino. You know this, and the Sixers, intriguingly enough, on the road here, obviously better numbers at home than on the road. Same thing for Golden State. What are you expecting here? What are we going to get from these two teams? Is it a side or a total move for you?
Well, I think it's more of a side for me, Joe. And the only roadblock that I came across, and of course, you never make a bet without there being at least one concern for the team that you're betting against. And in this case, I like Golden State. And the concern, Steve brought it up. We talk about this all the time. Fade a team that's coming home first game after an extended road trip. I'll step in front of that here tonight for this game. I fully expect Joel Embiid to go. I mean, it wasn't 3 hours here locally after that injury he suffered. He only played 16 minutes against the Bulls and then had to leave because of a strained calf. About 3 hours later, he vowed he was going to play in this game. Doc Rivers can say what he wants about managing health, but where Joel Embiid is concerned, they're kind of force-feeding him right now, Joe, for 2 reasons. A, he wants to win the MVP that badly. And B, because the Sixers themselves want that 2 spot in the Eastern Conference that badly. They want a 2-3 playoff series between them and Boston to be played with 4 games in Philadelphia, not 3. And so they're only a half a game behind Boston right now. So they're going to shove Embiid out there again, or he's going to go because he is one of those guys that you can't really drop load management, that tag on him. Even hurt, he'll go. And he's done so all season long. He'll play. I don't think James Harden will. But the Golden State home road dichotomy, which Steve brought up the numbers again that we've talked about so often this year, is just insane to me. They're such a different team at home. And where they're concerned, with the exception of Andrew Wiggins, the last 5-6 games, they're totally healthy again. I know there was a suspension game there for Draymond thrown in between, but for the most part, they're all on the floor now. I think you can tell by the couple of road wins that they ended that road trip with, kind of suggest that they're hitting a little bit of a different gear. Incrementally, they're getting better. And I think at home here, whether it be a third quarter push that we always talk about with this team, or whether it be Joel being slowed by this strained calf, I just don't think that Philadelphia has enough. It was a nice performance out of Maxey and Melton the other night in the midst of, the Embiid leaves mid-game. Oh, my God, we have to cover for him. But when you start a game with a guy in this type of injury situation, I just don't know. A strained calf is no little deal. So Looney's been playing pretty good on the boards. I know Joel has his way with almost any center in the league, but I don't think it holds up here, Joe. I just think they're force-feeding him tonight, or he's doing it to himself with this injury. I like Golden State -4.5. I was hoping that, and you probably still could hold out hope, that Joel gets ruled out of this game gets ruled officially into this game. And then this price goes from 4.5 down to 3, maybe 2.5. Once everybody thinks Embiid's going to play and you get a better price on Golden State. But I still think at 4.5 with an injured Embiid, it's the right side here. So I'm going to play Golden State.
All right, playing Golden State. Intriguing total, too, 234.5. Hasn't moved a whole heck of a lot. Golden State 20-15-1 to the under at home. They're a better over team on the road. But that number holding strong there at about 234.5 tonight in that one. And speaking of overs, let's talk total here, guys, in our overtime game of the day. And I don't get this one either. How about the Sacramento Kings and the Phoenix Suns here? Oh, look at that. 239.5 is what it opened at. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, look, it's still at... How in the hell is the Sacramento Kings game not getting just absolutely blasted to the over by this point? Very intriguing here. And I believe Huerta is going tonight. No Durant, we know that. No Ayton for Phoenix. One would think, all right, less rim protection, less defense, more points. Not so fast, Andy. That total is stagnant. So what are we doing here? Are you smelling something a little rotten here, or is there anybody in particular we should be looking at from a prop betting perspective in this one?
Well, if by smelling rotten you mean I'm going to take an over on Bizback Biombo, yeah, it stinks.
Yes,
But numbers are numbers here. Ayton is out again. Durant is out, and they put his rebound number at 6.5. This is the starting center tonight. He started against the Lakers. He had 8 rebounds, and he's going to have to be in the game. And we see these bench players a lot. You're going to see it on Portland. Get ready. When Dame starts sitting, look at these bench players that are going to start going over their numbers. And you got to take Biombo over 6.5. He's a starting center for the Suns. He played 26 minutes against Lakers. And, the Kings, they've been out-rebounded the last 2 games. Both of them losses. They haven't done very good. They've not been shooting the ball particularly well, so there's been a lot of rebounding opportunities that the other team has been getting. So 6.5, so a little bit too low. He's going to get plenty of opportunities. And if we have another bad shooting night from the Kings, he's gonna sail over this number. So hold your nose and take Biombo over 6.5 rebounds.
All right, Bismack Biyombo, not exactly a prop I thought I'd hear today, but I love it. Way to go, Andy. Merrill, how about you in this one? I mean, we're not, we're no strangers here to a Sacramento game and us going, wow, it can be over or not for us here. Oh, the market's not moving on this one. Is it still an over or not spot here for you with Sacramento?
Yeah, it's interesting, Joe. I don't know if the betting markets are taking a clue from the NCAA tournament last week, and we saw all those unders on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and then everything started, getting bumped down a few points. That Sunday round of 32, every game was at least 2 to 4 points lower on the over-under from the opening line. The reason I say that is because we've got, 10 games on the board tonight, and 239.5, and this game is the highest total. Now, in years past, that would never be a problem, but we usually get totals in the 240s now. And you're looking across the board tonight. We have a lot in the mid range. So I do feel like we're starting to see a little bit more playoff basketball, playoff intensity. And I think teams are trying to jock position with just a few games to go. Trying to show off an interesting angle he's mentioned quite often on the show that if you blindly the under the biggest total on the board when you have at least 5 or 6 games or more, like a big card like this, it's hit like 60% this season. So I'm not in a hurry to play over the biggest total. It's something that used to work for years and is not working anymore this season because odds makers have started to inflate the number. But as you said, very little movement on this. So it almost seems like we've come to an equilibrium now in the betting markets with the over-unders. Sacramento is a hard team to get under, though, because they're all offense, very little defense. They are coming off two bad defensive efforts, though, even for their standards, in which they gave up 260 combined points. And more importantly, they're coming off back-to-back losses. So I think we might see a little bit more defense from them than we normally see. So if I was going to play this one, I'd actually lean under tonight.
So, well, it's interesting, Vino, because Phoenix obviously would like this game a lot more, I think, than Sacramento is pretty much locked into that, 3 seed, somewhere in that ballpark there. Also, we've seen the market move towards Phoenix in the spread here. So is there a correlation there where if Phoenix is getting money, maybe the under is also keeping this thing under 240? What do you think we get here?
Well, since I've already played it over, I would say that if I had Steve Merrill money, it would already be over 240. Ooh. It'd be about 246 if I had that ability. But I don't have Steve Merrill's vault at home, so I couldn't play as much to move it quite as high as he could have if he liked the side I like. To Steve's point about these totals being a little bit lower tonight, I think a ton of it has to do with injury, right? You start with San Antonio. When do you see a San Antonio game at 228? You see that when Kyle Kuzma and Bradley Beal are out of the starting lineup. When do you see Indiana and Boston just hold at 236? You see that because there's question marks around Tyrese Halliburton still. As these players get ruled in or out, especially if they get ruled in, we'll see some of these things start pushing way up before game time here. In this particular instance, Sacramento's played 11 games this month, Joe, and 8 of them have hit 239 or better. So right away, the number's fair. And you have to start looking over at that point. But let's talk about the shambles that's become the Phoenix Suns defense, right? Phoenix Suns, just go over their last 7 games here. Allowed 122, 124, 128, 123, 116, and 113 to a pretty impotent Orlando Magic team, right? And the shooting percentages are way up there. 55.7 against Phoenix, 50, 50, 54.2. Even Orlando found their way to 50% against this team. So you take a really good offensive team like Sacramento and put them up against this Phoenix team, which I got to tell you, it seemed like some of these internal issues with Monty Williams, DeAndre Ayton, like a lot of that was solved when they got Kevin Durant. All of a sudden, everybody was excited again and nobody was pointing fingers at anybody. But the other night, Monty Williams complains about some fouls, and all of a sudden, you hear a lot of fractured stuff going on again in this locker room. So I don't know how steady Phoenix is from a compatibility standpoint in this one. I don't like their defense whatsoever as of late, and especially without Ayton protecting the rim, I don't like their defense. Bismack, Biyombo or not, I don't like their defense. And I think Sacramento just proves to us that they can score on anybody. So I could see this game, Joe, honestly, being somewhere in the 129, 124, 130 to 124 vicinity, which gives us a little bit of room. So at Sacramento Kings game at 239, I'm just not buying into under. I'll play it up and over the total. And again, I think it's only sitting here due to the injury. You know, these injury chasers in the NBA just have such an effect on the line. It's crazy.
It's an interesting point, too. We've got, 239s now starting to show up. So there we go, guys. Opportunity might present himself. Sacramento getting a little love here also. So, hey, -4, 239 is what we are seeing in that one. One of the late night games, but a lot of money, like we said, on the dog here with the Phoenix Suns. And that brings us, of course, to our dog segment here. What do we got tonight, Robbie?
That's my dog. That's my dog. That's my dog. That's my dog. And anybody got to say anything, you let me know. That's my dog.
All right, let's see what we got. Oh, that's a lot of shit right there. God. All right, let's, God damn, I didn't expect that much garbage. Oh, wow.
Eyes are burning.
All right, San Antonio, Indiana. Let me see here. Detroit, Houston. Like, oh, my word, is this awful. It's getting worse, too. Utah. Wow. Don't know, Andy. All yours, man. I hope you brought a shovel. What are you going through here, man? Which one of these dogs might be barking for you here tonight?
You know what? Give me the Charlotte Hornets. If I told you in this matchup that one of these teams was the 26th ranked team in defensive rating the last 15 games, and it only won one game by 15 points since December 29th, would you guess it's the Hornets or the Mavericks? That silence means we don't know, which means there's no way the Mavericks should be 15-point favorites. I mean, they're
good point.
Like, okay, they get Doncic back. Congratulations. And they gave up 127 points to the Golden State Warriors. There's no shot you can lay this many points with a team that cannot get stops on defense. Certainly, I'm not saying Charlotte's going to win this game, but I am saying that they can score and they're going to get a lot of open looks against that defense. So 14.5 is laughable to me. So it's not a pretty bet, but no way I'm laying that many points with Dallas.
Whew, wow. Doesn't get any prettier here, Merrill. So what are you sifting through here for a dog tonight? Which one might be barking for you?
Yeah, there are 10 games on the board and not too many dogs that caught my eye here. But I will go with not only to make our producer Robert happy, but because I do think there's some reasons you can back up this one ugly dog, and that's Houston here plus the 13. First of all, Memphis is 9.5 games ahead of Dallas in the division, so they pretty much have that division locked up. They also just played Houston on Wednesday night at home. This is one of those home and homes, quick revenge spots. We always look to take the contrarian approach. Now, I'd probably like it better had Houston been blown out, to be honest. And they did play Memphis tough. So you say, well, maybe Memphis is going to take it more serious. But they also have a single game road trip Sunday at Atlanta before coming back home for 3 games against the Magic and Clippers twice. So it's a weird scheduling spot here. We don't even need Houston to win this game. We just need them to stay within the 13. And they lost by 5 on Wednesday. Memphis never led by more than 13 points the entire game. So I think they can play them close once again. It's more of a letdown spot for Memphis. And Houston is still playing hard. I have no problem backing a Rockets team that's actually covered 4 of their last 6 plus the 13.
Gotta love Big Daddy in the chat. He said, man, hold your breath with Houston plus 13. Just don't pass out, damn it. That is the truth there. Talk to me here, Vino. I love some of these dogs they're throwing out at us, too. OKC is in there, Spurs, Houston. So there's a couple of intriguing ones. None of them are pretty. None of them are fun here, Vino. But which one might you be looking at?
You know, I would have looked and still may look at Oklahoma City, Joe, but the concern around whether or not on the back-to-back that they're going to play Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who hasn't played the second of back-to-backs the last 3 times Oklahoma City has had that situation. And the concern that I read yesterday from head coach Mark Daniel about them really micromanaging his health and his minutes at this point in time. I don't know if he'll play, even though there was no travel involved. You just get a different LA team tonight. We'll see. That could be for later on. But listen, let's go like this. Andy and Steve have already shoved our heads 2/3 of the way into this bucket. I'll push it all the way to the bottom. Let's take Detroit plus 14.5.
Yeah.
We'll take 41 combined points worth of underdogs. And I'm going to credit this one fully. I'm giving full credit on this play to our friend and colleague Ski Prophet, who characterized him as Petty Casey. Dwayne Casey, the head coach of the Detroit Pistons, who won Coach of the Year and got fired by the Toronto Raptors. Since they fired him and he's come to Detroit, the Pistons are 9-0 against the spread against this team. He just refuses to not play this team tough. I think it's going to go to 10-0 here tonight. Toronto's got some injury situations. They don't really have to win by 14.5. Detroit's been an ugly team as of late, and they do have an injury list full. But again, Eski explained it to me. He asked his team for 4 games a year, the 4 when we play Toronto. Let's go get them. So let's shove our head all the way in the bucket. I'll take Detroit plus 14.5.
Wow. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. That is some ass right there. That is some terrible ass you 3 are picking right there for the dogs tonight. But the good news is we got best bets from you guys, and help us all if any one of those happen to be the best bet as well. So let's roll here, Robbie. Let's see what we got tonight for these guys. Yeah, I mean, even the bumpers like that was ugly. All right, let's go. 60 seconds on the clock here, and you guys know what to do. We got some games to choose from, some intriguing ones. So give us a best bet somewhere on the card here tonight, Andy. What are you looking at?
5% UFC play is up. We got 4% women's play that is up. I'm going to do my best bet really quick, and then I got a funny story for everyone. Take Daniel Gafford under 20.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He only has 1 game over 16 PRA in his last 10 games. I know Kuzma's out. He's just not getting it done. He's taken 4.8 shots a game his last 10. He's not even getting 5 rebounds, not even 2 assists. I don't know where they think the stats are supposed to come from, but he's just not getting there. All right, my funny story. So back in the fall, my mom wanted to do some sports betting. So I walked her through, like, she wanted to follow some of my picks and just, kind of be involved. You've seen her on my Twitter feed, like doing some plays. So I set her up with some sports books, and I was like, let's do some women's college basketball. Let's do some golf. Let's do some UFC. So I call her this morning. I'm like, all right, we're going to put in our golf picks. She's like, what's this message that says I've been limited? My mom got limited.
Yes.
Awesome.
They limited my 74-year-old mother.
Absolutely love that.
A phrase I never thought I would say as long as I lived is, My mom got limited. Shout out, Mom. You're in the club. You've been
Amen.
limited. Let's have a great weekend.
That's it. I love it. Marlon Lang getting limited here. I love that. Fellow degenerate. Outstanding. All right, Merrill, 60 seconds on the clock here. Tell us, where's your best bet looking at here tonight?
Going to look at a free NBA play for Friday night, March the 24th. Just a quick reminder that I gave out a free college basketball play in the college show. I've got my Fade the Public Friday Sweet 16 edition analysis of all 4 games, including 2 public underdogs on the board tonight. And also the Elite 8 Saturday edition is ready to go as well. Hit subscribe, hit the bell for instant alerts here on WagerTalk TV. And don't forget, 3 strong NCAA best bets for Friday and a late night NBA best bet as well on my page right now, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. An NBA game that was just a bit outside from making the cut is the Washington Wizards -8. And first of all, never have a problem playing against the Spurs. I think they're trying less than any team in the NBA right now. And the Wizards are coming off of 4 straight losses, but they've been an underdog in every loss. Right before that, they won the game as a 13-point favorite against Detroit by 20, and they were only favored one other time in the month of March before that. So I think this is a wake-up spot for the Wizards, laying just single digits against a terrible Spurs team. Take the Wizards at home tonight. 4 strong best bets Friday. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com.
Boom! All right, well done, Dan. Wizards for Merrill. Vino, 60 seconds, my man. Which one of these games did you pick for us?
You know, Joe, the true definition of your past parlay on this show, shits and giggles, is definitely our 3-team dog parlay tonight. I mean, because you get more shits and giggles than what we gave out there. And it's going to hit, believe me. I don't know what the odds are on that, but we're going to win that thing, the 3 of us. I'm going to go back to the West Coast game, the Golden State-Philadelphia game. I really think Golden State's in a good spot here. Again, I am stepping in front of that fade, the road trip, first game back home theory. However, Golden State at home has just been too profitable all season long. And these injuries to Harden and Embiid do worry me a little bit for this team. So I think Golden State will at some point in time create some separation that Philadelphia won't be able to overcome. I'm going to take Golden State here, -4.5. You may get a better price later. If, in fact, Joel is ruled in this game, you might see this thing go down to 3 points or so. But I'm comfortable at 4.5 here, Joe. So give me Golden State -4.5 as the best bet.
All right. Going to be way more shits than giggles with that parlay. I'm just going to tell you that right now, Vino. All right, one more time. Let's take a look here. Recap it for you. Andy Lang, leg 1 of the shits and giggle parlay. Charlotte, 14.5 for the dog here. His best bet, though, is going to be Daniel Gafford there, the under 20.5 and the PRA, while Merrill, leg number 2, is going to be Houston, +13 in that matchup there. But his best bet is going to be Washington. He'll lay the 8. He'll fade San Antonio, no problem. And Vino rounding out that shits and giggles parlay. He going to go, yep, you guessed it, Detroit laying that, getting that 14.5 rather against Toronto. But his best bet, give him Golden State at home. He'll lay the 4.5 against the 76ers. The contrarian gods, well, they're going to look at Portland here tonight, now getting 4.5 at home against the Chicago Bulls. And like Merrill told you, if you head over to WagerTalk.com, you can visit him as well as Andy and Rob. Vino, guys, they are locked and loaded. Andy's got darts. He's got the Women's Bowling League, Women's Final Four. He's got a little something for everybody rolling over there, guys. Hey, the tickets cash the same. It don't make a damn bit of difference. Andy's ready. Merrill is ready. And, of course, Vino, whether it be NBA or college hoops, guys, we got games coming up here in just about a little over an hour or so. Sweet 16 matchups. The best bets are there on their pages, ready to roll. All right, that about does it for us here, guys, this week. Now, the good news is we still have about another 2 weeks here worth of regular season games. And then, of course, it is playoff time in the NBA, and that is always a good time here. So we hope you'll come back. Join us again on Monday. We'll do it all over again. A new week here as we get ready to close out the regular season in the association. And until then, on behalf of Andy, Steve Merrill, Mario, Rob Vino, you lunatics in the chat there. We've got Professor Chris, we got Tim, we got Sean, we got Big Daddy. You guys rock. Thank you so very much for hanging out with us this week. Best of luck with all your plays tonight and this weekend, guys. We'll talk to you again on Monday. Good luck. We'll see you.
Play ball. Hot off the press, handicappers from WagerTalk, Sports Memo, and the Gold Sheet have collaborated on the 2023 WagerTalk Media MLB Betting Guide. From World Series odds to regular season win totals and everything in between, this year's betting guide features previews on all 30 teams, all 6 divisions, and season-long awards like the Cy Young, MVP, and Rookie of the Year. Each preview contains key roster acquisitions and departures to help you get up to speed before opening day. Visit wt.buzz/MLB23 to download your free guide, and we'll see you in the batter's box.